Hey everybody, it's me, Ray, and welcome to a Speedpaint. You have clicked on the voiceover variant, and let's jump right on into it. Today I'll be drawing a picture that is major spoilers for Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 48. I'll be drawing Nott the Brave and Veth the Halfling. And a lineless style, and this was very much an experimental piece. I don't usually do lineless, and when I do, it's usually more of a painterly style. But in this, I was trying to go for a little bit more realistic and more rendered looking, which I actually think I kind of achieved. So what you see now is I am going and I am filling in the shapes, the basic shapes for what I am going to be rendering later. For Nott's hair, it's very messy, very unkempt, very, I don't care about my appearance, and Veth's is a lot more, I'm a mom and I don't have time to make sure my hair looks perfect all the time. And now you see I am beginning to actually do the rendering. So what I'm doing is I'm starting out in grayscale, and then when everything else is done, I'm going to go back over it and I'm going to apply color, like all in one go. So I start by rendering one side of the face, because this is technically the same character, just in different phases of her life, if the prevalent theory of not being Veth reincarnated is true. So what I am doing first is I am rendering the halfling side, because that's the side that's going to be easiest to modify over. And here I am pasting it over to the goblin side and rendering over that. I am just using different shades of gray for this. This is literally just a grayscale drawing at this point. I am attempting to make the Nott side a little bit more severe and cat-like than the more chubby-cheeked, pleasant halfling side, because from my understandings, halflings are basically just hobbits from Lord of the Rings, but given a different name because hobbits are like J.R.R. Tolkien's thing. And, so here I am. I'm actually working. This is a rather challenging project for me, just as a whole. I am not someone who likes grayscale. I abhor using things that are desaturated. If I do desaturated anything, it's because I'm trying to make something look dead and lifeless. Or I'm just doing it just fully in grayscale. It's really not something that I enjoy. But I really wanted to challenge myself. 2019 is going to be my year to challenge myself, expand my horizons, and all of that good stuff. Unfortunately, the recording, I lost the part where I was rendering the lips, which is a shame because the lips were very, very challenging. However, they came out amazing, and I am super proud of how the lips turned out. I'm really proud of actually how the whole thing came out, but I'm really proud of the lips. The eyebrows, eyebrows are always something that I lose some of the emotion for, from between sketch and finished project, and that's part of the reason why I like to just post sketches more than anything, because there's a lot more raw emotion in the sketch, which you can see in the upper corner. But life is life. I pretty much always shade hair pretty much the same exact way, unless I'm trying to do cell shading, which is not my favorite thing in the world, but it works sometimes. So what I do is I put in blocks of shading and highlights where I do blocks of shading using the airbrush tool where there is going to be like big sections of hair that just kind of overlap and things like that. and then I'll just go over it in an overlay layer and do little individual strands so that you can see, oh, okay, so yeah, there is a method to this madness. There is life and body and all of that. So, yeah. And here you can see that I am doing that. One of the reasons I really wanted to do this piece is, one, to challenge myself, and two, because I've always loved those pictures that are like all duality, where it's like, you know, on one side you see like the good version of them, where everything is happy and awesome and their life is amazing, and then on the other side you see them when they're tortured and they hate themselves or the world around them, where they've suddenly become a homicidal maniac. That is one of my favorite types of drawing, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try my hand at one of these, because I've never really had the confidence to do that before. But as I said earlier, 2019 is my year of improvement and expanding my horizons. So I'm going to do a lot more speed paints this year. I'm going to do a lot more of just trying to do things that I've never really had the courage to do before. And I would like to thank my patrons for making this, me being able to have speed paints possible. Without them, I would not be able to afford to do that. My patrons are amazing. Thank you guys so much. And starting next month, or maybe in March, I am going to start doing speed paints of the Patreon rewards. Let me tell you a little bit about Patreon. I'm going to put a timestamp on here to where I stop talking about it, in case you don't want to hear about all the great things that you can get through Patreon. If you become my patron on Patreon, you get access to NSFW files before anyone else does. You get to vote on who gets to be in the monthly NSFW art. And you also get the PSD and PNG files, as well as the full res files for pretty much everything that I draw that has more than 2 layers, which is pretty much everything. You also get, from the $5 tier and up, you get a free art every month. And for $1 a month and more, you get access to an exclusive Patreon server on Discord, where you can talk to me, you can vote on who's in the monthly NSFW drawing, and when I actually am up to it, or like, you know, don't have a packed full schedule, you can request art when I ask for it. You guys also get 2 days early access on speed paints. I keep them unlisted until 2 days after I've posted a link to Patreon. So you get early access to speed paints, you get early access to NSFW variants, you get PSD files, you get PNG files, you get free art. There's really, if you can afford to go out for coffee once a week, you can afford to slide me some money and help me be able to do what I do. Help me be able to make art for you guys and produce content and just be able to survive, because I am currently, art is my only job. You also get a $5 off the basics and $10 off the super fancy for the dice boxes that I make. And if you follow me on Twitter, sometimes I will post that I have those openings, and that is, yeah, you get a discount on dice boxes. You get you get first priority on adopts, your character years, and commissions. And yeah, please please become my patron on Patreon. And back to talking about the speed paint. Gold is a very hard thing to render, in my personal opinion, because there's so many first of all, there's like so many different shades of it, but also the metal itself is so reflective in so many different ways, and just depending on the light and all of that, it can just look so different. But I think I actually achieved a pretty decent render on this. And here I am doing the eyes. The eyes are the one thing that I am not overly proud of in this. I think I really chickened out. I could have gone a little bit harder. I could have made it more realistic, but I really like my stylized eyes, man. Firepaca recently got a mesh transform tool, which you could see me using just then, and it is amazing, and I love it, and it has, oh my gosh, changed my life for the better. Like, it is so amazing. I love it. So yeah, this is Nott and Veth. Veth is really just supposed to look like a happy mom. You know, she's got her life together. She's got a husband and a son that love her, and you know, she's awesome. You know, Veth is very, very happy with her life, and then you have Nott, who is a mess of self-loathing and misery. You could say that Nott's in the business of misery. And here I am trying to adjust those derpy-looking eyes. Don't sue me, Hasbro. I really think I could have gone a bit harder. I could have done a little bit more when it comes to the eyes. I could have challenged myself a little bit more, but you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Yeah. But you live and you learn, and you go on living until you don't. So, at first I was going to do a background for this. Oh yeah, here's the tears. The tears are always a challenge for me, but that doesn't stop me from drawing them because I love the way that tears can just like amp up the fact that they're suffering, make it more obvious, make it so people can tell that this person's in pain. It's great. And yeah, I was originally going to do a background, but I kind of decided against it because I just couldn't think of a good color combination. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this. I have links to my Twitter, and Patreon in the description box below. I no longer use Tumblr because it is dead. So have a beautiful day. I love you very much, and goodbye.